Hi everyone. So in previous class we discussed about the diffusion as well as the imbibition. Okay. So in today's session we will discuss about the osmosis as well as water potential. Let's begin. So we know that osmosis means it is a movement of molecules from the region of higher concentration to the region of the lower concentration until the concentration becomes equal on the other side of the membrane. Okay, so it is a process of the movement of the molecules from the higher concentration to the lower concentration with the help of the semi permeable membrane. Okay, that is known as osmosis. So what is this a semi permeable membrane? So this semi-permeable membrane, it is a biological membrane which functions by permitting the movements of certain molecules or the ions to pass through it. Okay, so that is known as semi-permeable membrane. So semi-permeable membrane helps in permitting the molecules from or the ions to pass through it. So that is known as semi-permeable membrane. So osmosis means what? It is the movement of the molecules from the region of higher concentration to the lower concentration, so until the concentration becomes equal with the help of the semi permeable membrane, that is known as osmosis. So why is the osmosis important for the cells now? So osmosis is most important for the cells for many reasons. So it helps in the movements of important materials inside and outside of the cells. Okay, so the nutrients, water and other solutes move in and out. So they move in as well as they move out from the cell. So by this process osmosis is very important. And how is the osmosis different from the diffusion? So we know that diffusion means it is the movement of the molecules from the higher concentration to the lower concentration is known as diffusion. Then osmosis means it is the movement of the molecules from the higher concentration to the lower concentration through semi permeable membrane until the concentration become equal, that is known as osmosis. Okay, so now we came to know about the difference between osmosis as well as the diffusion. So osmosis is a process of movement of solutes through a semi-permeable membrane from region of higher solute concentration to the region of the lower concentration solute. So in diffusion, the diffusion does not require a semi-permeable membrane to occur the process. Okay, and in osmosis, there is necessary of the semi-permeable membrane to move the molecules from higher concentration to the lower concentration. And in diffusion, there is no requirement of the semi-permeable membrane, but the molecules move from higher concentration to the lower concentration. Okay, so next, if we see, there are three types of solution in the osmosis. They are isotonic solution, hypertonic solution and hypotonic solution. So what are these three terms meant for? So the isotonic solution, hypertonic solution and the hypotonic solution are used to describe whether a solution will cause water to move into the cell or outside of the cell. Okay, so these three are meant for to know whether the water will move into the cell or outside of the cell. So before we understand the type of the solutions, first we will come to know what is solution, solvent and solute. Okay, so before we understand the isotonic solutions, hypertonic solutions and hypotonic solution, first we have to understand what is the solution, what is the solvent and what is the solute. Okay, so solution, it is a homogeneous mixture of one or more solutes which dissolved in solvent. Okay, solution means what? It is a homogeneous mixture of one or more solutes dissolved in a solvent. So then what is a solute now? Solute means the substance that dissolves in a solvent to produce a homogeneous mixture is known as the solute. Okay, so solute means the substance that dissolve in solvent to produce the homogeneous mixture is known as the solute. And then what is a solvent? So the solvent means the substance in which the solute dissolves to produce a homogeneous mixture is known as the solvent. So these are slightly related to each other. So solvent means what? The substance in which the solute dissolves to produce the homogeneous mixture. Both these solvent and solute, they produce a homogeneous mixture to form a solution. Okay, so from the solvent and solute we will get the solution. So now we came to know about the solvent, we came to know about the solute, and we came to know about the solution. Okay, so now we will understand what is isotonic solution, hypertonic solution, and hypotonic solution. So the first one, that is a isotonic solution, you can see here. So if a cell is placed in a isotonic solution, there will be no net flow of the water into the cell or out of the cell. Okay, so if a cell is placed in the high isotonic solution, so there will be no net flow of the water into the cell or outside of the cell. So the cell's volume will remain stable here. So the cell's volume remains stable here, and if the solute concentration outside the cell is the same, okay, so the solute concentration outside the cell is the same, and then inside the cell it is also same, and the solutes cannot cross the membrane, that solution is isotonic solution. Okay, so if the concentration of the solute outside the cell and inside the cell is the same, then the movement of the molecules cannot cross the membrane. That type of solution is known as the isotonic solution. Okay, so this is the isotonic solution. Isotonic means what? The solution in which the osmotic concentration is equal to the cell sap is known as the isotonic solution. Then what is a hypertonic solution? So this is the hypertonic solution and this is the hypotonic solution. So there is a slightly spelling mistake here, sorry for that. So you can see here, this is the hypertonic and this is the hypotonic. Okay, so what is this hypertonic solution? So hypertonic solution means here it is a solution in which the osmotic concentration or the solute concentration is more than that of the cell sap. So the concentration of the osmotic concentration and the solute concentration which is outside, it is more than the cell sap. This type of solution is known as the hypertonic solution. So we can say if a cell is placed in a hypertonic solution, okay, so if a cell is placed in hypertonic solution, there will be net flow of the water out of the cell, you can see here. So there will be net flow of the water out of the cell. It will cause the cell to lose its volume. A solution will be hypertonic to the cell here. So if its solute concentration is higher than that inside the cell and the solutes cannot cross the membrane, this type of solution is known as the hypertonic solution. So what is hypertonic? So it is a solution in which the osmotic concentration is more than the cell sap. Okay, so next one, that is a hypotonic solution. So this is hypotonic solution, and the hypotonic solution means what? The solution, it is a solution in which a solute concentration is less than that of the cell sap. So here the concentration of the solute will be more in the cell sap and it will be less outside the cell sap. Okay, so it is a solution in which the solute concentration is less here. Outside the cell it is less than that of the inside the cell, means here the cell sap is having more solute concentration. So we can say that if a cell is placed in hypotonic solution, so there will be a net flow of water into the cell and the cell will gain its volume here, whereas the cell will lose its volume in the hypertonic solution, and here in hypotonic solution the cell will gain its volume here. Okay, and if the solute concentration outside the cell is lower than inside the cell and the solutes cannot cross the membrane here, and then the solution is known as hypotonic solution. So what is isotonic, hypertonic and hypotonic? Isotonic means what? The solution in which the osmotic concentration is equal to the cell sap. Okay, and then hypotonic means here it is a solution in which the osmotic concentration is more than that of the cell sap. And hypotonic means it is a solution in which the solute concentration is less than that of the cell sap. So these are the types of the solution we see in the osmosis. Next, if we see the types of the osmosis, there are two types. They are end osmosis as well as the exosmosis. So what is this end osmosis now? End osmosis means, here you can see, when a water or a solvent molecules enter into the cell. Okay, so when a water or solvent molecules enter into the cell or a system through the plasma membrane by osmosis from the outer medium is known as the end osmosis, and the entry of the water results in the net gain of water here. So when a petri dish is filled with the water and a few dry grapes are added to it, if they are left overnight, the dry grapes will swell due to the entry of the water by the end osmosis. Okay, and the dry grapes contain concentrated glucose molecules in them. Okay, and the water in the dish is the hypotonic solution. Hypotonic means what? It is a solution in which the solute concentration is less than the cell sap. Okay, so the solution here, it is the hypotonic solution, and the skin of the dry grapes behave like plasma membrane. Okay, so they are the plasma membrane, or they are semi permeable membrane. All in this condition they favor the end osmosis. Okay, so end osmosis, it is nothing but the entry of the water results in net gain of the water. And what will be the effects of the end osmosis? So end osmosis increases the turgor pressure of the cell. Okay, so it increases the turgor pressure of the cell. Turgor pressure means what? So when a plant cell is placed in a water or a hypotonic solution, the water enters into the cell due to the end osmosis, causing an expansion of the protoplasm, and the protoplasm presses against the cell wall, exerting an outward pressure. This pressure is known as the turgor pressure. Okay, so turgor pressure means what? The protoplasm will press against the cell wall, exerting an outward pressure is known as the turgor pressure. So the end osmosis increases the turgor pressure of the cell, and here in end osmosis it can cause the cell to swell considerably as more and more water enters. So if a cell is surrounded by a pure water, then too much water may enter into the point that the cell will swell so much that it bursts. So which is more common in the animal cells instead of the plant cell, because the plant cell is having the cell walls. So next one, that is exosmosis. Exosmosis means what? So the exosmosis means when a plant cells or a tissues is placed in a concentrated solution. So the water molecules move from the cell into the outer concentrated medium through the plasma membrane by osmosis is known as exosmosis. Okay, so exosmosis means what? So when a plant cells or a tissues, when they are kept in a concentrated solution, the water molecules move from the cell into the outer concentrated medium through the plasma membrane is known as exosmosis. So this exit of water molecules from the living cells or the tissues by the osmosis is known as exosmosis. So it results in the net loss of the water. Okay, so it whereas end osmosis, it results in the entry of the or net gain of the water, and whereas in exosmosis it results in the loss of water. So we can say that when fresh grapes are kept in the petri dish containing the salt concentration overnight, so the grapes shrink due to the exit of water by the exosmosis. So this is known as exosmosis. So then what will be the effects of the exosmosis? So when the exosmosis occurs, the water move out of the cell into the external environment. Okay, so the water moves from the cell into the external environment. As this happens, the cytoplasm shrinks from the water loss. So if the exosmosis occurs too rapidly and too much water is lost, then the cytoplasm will shrink. That is known as the plasmolysis. So if the cytoplasm shrinks too much, it could cause the cell to shrink, and here it is more common in the animals than the plant cells. So what is this plasmolysis? So what do you mean by plasmolysis? So plasmolysis is when the plant cell loses the water after being placed in a solution that has a higher concentration of the solutes than the cell does. This is known as the hypertonic solution. So this plasmolysis always occurs in the hypertonic solution. So here the water flows out of the cells and into the surrounding fluids due to the osmosis. This causes the protoplasm, all the materials to inside the cell to shrink away from the cell wall. So the severe water loss that leads to the collapse of the cell wall can result in the cell death, since the osmosis is the process that requires no energy on the part of the cell and cannot be controlled the cell, and we cannot stop the plasmolysis from taking place. So what is plasmolysis? Plasmolysis, it takes place when the cell is placed in the hypertonic solution, and here the cells become flaccid, and during plasmolysis the protoplasm shrinks because of the loss of water, and it takes place due to the exosmosis. Okay, and then what is deplasmolysis? So when a plasmolysed cell is placed in a hypotonic solution, so the water moves into the cell because of the higher concentration of the water outside the cell than in the cell, and the cell that swells to become the turgid. It is known as deplasmolysis. So when a plasmolysed cell is placed in the hypotonic solution, hypotonic means what? A solution in which the solute concentration is less than the cell sap. So when a plasmolysed cell is placed in the hypotonic solution, here the water moves inside the cell. Okay, so the water will move inside the cell, and hence the cell will gain the water and it will become turgid, and this process is known as deplasmolysis. And then what is flaccid? So, if we place the living cells in the isotonic solution, that is both the solutions outside the cell and inside the cell, the concentration of the solute is the same. So, there is no net flow of the water towards the cell or outside the cell. So, here the water moves in and out of the cell and is in equilibrium, and the cells are said to be flaccid here. So another term that is known as osmotic pressure. So what is this osmotic pressure? So the extra pressure applied on the solution side to prevent the entry of the solvent through the semi-permeable membrane is known as osmotic pressure. So what is the osmotic pressure? The extra pressure applied on the solution side to prevent the entry of the solvent or the water, you can say, through the semi-permeable membrane is known as osmotic pressure. This osmotic pressure can be calculated with the help of the formula, that is pi is equals to CRT. So what is this pi and CRT? Pi is the osmotic pressure, and C, it is the molar concentration of the solute in the solution. Okay, so it is a molar concentration of the solute in the solution. And what is R? So R represents the universal gas constant. Okay, so it represents universal gas constant, and T means it is the temperature. So now we will come to know what is C, what is R, and what is T. Okay, so C, as I said, it is the molar concentration of the solute, and the molar concentration refers to the actual number of the atoms or the ions or the molecules of the solute. Okay, so this is important because it is the number of the particles that determine how the particles interact in the osmosis, and not the volume or the weight. And how much of the mole or a unit of measurement of the particles or waves, or how much volume it takes up, we will vary depending on the molecular weight and density of the solute. Okay, so C is nothing but the molar concentration of the solute in the solution. And what is R is the ideal gas constant. Okay, so R is nothing but the universal gas constant. Although the idea of the gas constant was created to refer to the gases and how they diffuse and behave, it also applies to the liquid. So in chemistry, both the liquids and gases are considered as the fluids. Okay, so the particles that are able to diffuse freely, as opposed to the solids whose particles are held in place by the strong bonds. So R is nothing but the ideal gas constant, and T, it is the temperature in degrees of the Kelvin. And 1 degree Kelvin is the same as 1 degree Celsius. But there is an important difference between two measuring system. That is, temperature is a measure of the energy in the molecules. At high energy, at the higher temperature, molecules move faster. Okay, so at higher temperature, molecules move faster. At lower temperature, they move slow. This is why the temperature is so important to this equation. And the faster particles are undergoing random molecular motion, the faster they will diffuse here. So this was about the temperature. And we came to know about the formula, that is pi is equals to CRT. Pi is the osmotic pressure, which represents the osmotic pressure. C, it is the molar concentration of the solute in the solution. R, it is the gas constant. And T, it is the temperature. Okay, so next we will come to know the significance of the osmosis. So what are the important of the osmosis? So it is essential for the survival of a cell, and also it plays a key role during the germination of the seeds. And it is involved in the movement of water molecules between the cell and the cell organelles. And in plants, it is involved in the movement of water molecules from the soil into the root nodules. Okay, so the plants absorb the water from the roots, and it separates to its aerial parts. Okay, so then another important, the mechanism of the stomata is mainly because of the response of osmotic pressure of the guard cells in relation to the epidermal cells. So there are many importance of the osmosis which are going to take place in the plants. So this was all about the osmosis. Here you came to know about the osmosis, types of solutions in the osmosis, type of osmosis, that is exosmosis and the end osmosis. Also you came to know about the osmotic pressure and the importance of the osmosis. So next, moving towards the next topic, that is water potential. So, to understand the concept of the water potential, first we have to know the fact that the water molecules move from region of its higher concentration to the region of the lower concentration along diffusion. Okay, so the movement is from the region of more number of molecules of the water to the region of less number of molecules of the water. So that is on the relative difference in the number of the water molecules. Okay, so the spontaneous movement of water from one region to the another is explained in the terms of a free energy of the water. And the free energy is the principle of the thermodynamics that is applied to the osmotic relations of the plant cells. So it deals with the energy changes. Okay, so the free energy determines the direction in the way in which the physical or chemical changes occur, and this free energy, it is also known as the kinetic energy. Okay, so it is capable of doing work because of the free energy molecules. The molecules are in constant motion, and they tend to move from region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. And even the water molecules flow from the region of higher free energy to the region of lower free energy. And in pure water, it has full of water molecules with greater free energy than that of the water molecules of the solutions means impure water. Okay, so the difference is called as the water potential. So we can define the water potential now. So we can define it as the difference between the free energy of the water molecules in pure water and the free energy of the water in the solution, that is in impure water. Okay, so that is known as water potential. So, what is water potential? It is the difference between the free energy of water molecules in the pure water and free energy of the water in the solution, that is the impure water. So, we know that water always enter the solution from the solvent side through the semi-permeable membrane. Okay, so this tendency of the molecules move depends upon the free energy, and that is called as the chemical potential. And the chemical potential of the water is called as water potential. The water potential, whether it is in the beaker inside the plant or in the soil, expressed by the Greek letter known as the psi, you can see here. So the water potential, it is expressed in the form of a psi, and that is measured in the bars. One bar is equals to 0.987 atom something. And in terms of the water potential, it was coined by Slater and Tyler in 1960. So this water potential, it is designed by the Greek letter, it is known as the psi. Then the water potential of the pure water at the atmospheric pressure, it is zero itself. And the presence of the solute molecules in the solution reduces the free energy of the water, and thus it reduces the water potential to the less than zero, we can say. So therefore a solution has a negative of a water potential. Always the solutions will be having negative water potential, that means negative value of the water potential. When there is difference in the water potential between the two regions of the water molecules move from higher concentration to the lower concentration, that is when the water molecules move from the region of the higher water potential to the region of lower water potential, the movement of the water will takes place in osmotic or other system from the region of higher water potential to the region of the lower water potential. So the movement of the water, when it is stopped, so the water potential of the two regions will become equal. Okay, so when the movement of the water molecules has been stopped, the water potential in that region, it will become equal from the both the regions. And if you see the formula how to calculate the water potential, so it is calculated by the water potential is equals to pressure potential plus the solute potential. So if we add the pressure potential and the solute potential, we will get the value of water potential. So to understand these terms, that is pressure potential, solute potential, and there are many other terms also which can calculate the water potential. First we have to understand these terms to know the value of water potential. Here you can see these are the components of the water potential. What are they? The first one is solute potential, it is also known as the osmotic potential. next one pressure potential, and then matrix potential, and the last one is gravitational potential. The first one, if we talk, is about solute potential. So, what is this solute potential? So, it is also known as the osmotic potential. Okay, so the free energy of the water molecules decreases if some solutes are found in it. Okay, so the free energy of the water molecules decreases if some solutes are found in it, and this is because of the collision of water molecules with the solute molecules. So it mixes with this, or the water molecules mixes with the solute molecules, and the decrease in the water potential brought about by the solute dissolved in it, and it is referred as the solute potential. Okay, so what is solute potential? The amount by which the water potential of the solution is reduced as a result of the presence of solute. Okay, so the term solute potential takes the place of osmotic pressure here, and it is expressed in the bars with negative signs, and the higher concentration of the solute and the solute potential becomes more negative. Okay, so if there is a more higher concentration of the solute potential becomes more negative. Next one, that is pressure potential. So what is this pressure potential? It refers to the pressure exerted by the rigid and elastic plant cell wall on the protoplasm, okay, during the turgidity of the cells. So it is a pressure exerted by the plant cell wall on the protoplasm in a turgid cells, and it has a positive value and is equivalent to the Turger pressure or the wall pressure, and the present and the pressure potential is zero in the unvacuolated cells and the plasmolysed cells. So what is pressure potential? It is the pressure exerted by the plant cell walls on the protoplasm in the turgid cells is known as the pressure potential. Third component, that is matrix potential. So what is this matrix potential? So the matrix is the term used for the surface to which water molecules are absorbed. Okay, so it is a term used for the surface to which water molecules are absorbed. It has a negative value, and in case of the plant water relationships, it is not considered because it does not play a significant role in the movement of water. So therefore the above equation is written as like this. So the water potential can be calculated by the pressure potential as the solute potential. Fourth one, that is gravitational potential. So what is this gravitational potential? So the gravitational potential is also a negative or zero in the plant with no height. So without the height, there is no potential energy in the system. The force of the gravity pulls the water downward into the soils from the plant, which reduces the total amount of potential energy in the water of the plant. And the taller the plant, the taller the water columns. They are nothing but the xylem vessels. And in short plants, this effect is negligible and easily ignored, and hence the gravitational potential is always negative or it is zero. So this is all about the water potential. In this session you came to know about the osmosis as well as the water potential and its component. I hope you guys understood well. Thank you.